Cool. Okay, so we're gonna start with flouring our surface. I like to use parchment paper. You can use a pastry mat or just the counter, but I always just like to use parchment paper. Just I don't know why, just out of personal preference. So we're just lightly flouring it. We don't want too much flour, but we also want enough so that it won't stick. That should be good. Okay, and then I got my pie dough. So here is our pie dough right here. And I'm actually testing out using, well, let me get you a little bit closer here. Okay. So I'm actually testing out my pie dough recipe. That recipe is up on my channel. But with this one, instead of using water, I actually used whole milk instead. And just kind of seeing what happens to the dough when using that. So I think it makes it a little more tender. Um, I think it's good either way. Then we're slightly flouring the top. And then we're just lightly flouring our rolling pin here. And then we start to roll it out. And of course, at first it is a little bit tough to work with, but we do want it nice and cold. Oops. With parchment paper, it does slip around a little bit, which is why I'm going to invest in a pastry mat, because it should stay a lot better. As always, if you have any questions while I'm doing anything, just let me know. Tap it in the chat. Or type it in the chat. Okay. We're getting there. Want it a little bit thinner at least before we are done rolling it out. Okay. We're looking pretty good. I think we're just about there. Yeah, I think that should be good. That's nice and thin. Looks like we pretty much want it right there. Okay. I think it's a little tiny bit thick right there. Just gonna roll it a little bit this way. Okay. That should be good. Let me get my circle cutters. Okay, so of course you can use a whole range of sizes with the circle cutters. I'm gonna use this one. I think it's about 3.5 inches or so. And we're gonna just cut some circles. We're trying to get as many circles as we can out of this dough. I think we're only gonna get one more. Okay. We're gonna take our excess dough, we're gonna set it aside. You can either bake it off as is, like in little pie dough scraps, or you can re-roll it. It's not gonna have exactly the same texture as these ones, but it'll still, you can still definitely use it for more hand pies. You just wanna make sure that once you put it all back together and you kind of get it back in a little disc of pie dough, that you wanna chill it again for a while before you roll it out again. Because if you work with it too much, it's gonna get a little bit tough, and then it's gonna try and kind of, you know, once you roll it out, it'll try and shrink back down. So you wanna let it rest in the fridge. I'm trying to shaking off some of the excess flour because when I re-roll it or put it into a ball, basically, I don't want to have too much extra flour being added because it's at a good consistency as is. Okay. We're looking pretty good. Moving my flour, extra flour out of the way here. Okay. So next we are going to take some of our apple pie filling. And this recipe is on my YouTube channel as well as my food blog. So this is like our diced size, a little bit bigger. And then here is our brunoise size. It's just a small dice. So I always like to make, depending on how much I want to stuff them, if I want to do, you know, like 2 pieces of dough on top of each other to kind of make like a little pocket, I'll use the bigger, I'll use the dice. And then if I want to do, I'll do both just to show you, but if I want to take one of these and fold it over so it's like a little, you know, half circle hand pie, that's when I'll use the brunoise, the small dice size. So, and then before we fully get into this, so these are the caramel that I'll be using. This is the cookie butter salted caramel that I have a recipe video for as well. I'll make sure that after this is done that I'll add all of the video links in the description. And so with these, I just make the cookie butter, and it's a nice thick version, and I just cut it into little squares, and then we can just pop it right in. Okay. Okie dokie. So we're gonna add some of our apple pie filling. Like I said, I'll do some with the double circles, some with the half circles, just to show you the difference. We're gonna take a spoon. We don't add too much, but I like to kind of push the boundaries of how much you can add because, of course, the filling is the most delicious part. Oops. Go in there. Okay, so again, you don't want to add too much filling, but I do kind of like to push the boundaries a little bit because I want to try to make sure it is kind of full. So I'll make a couple of the doubles and a couple of the half. A little bit bit more on this one. I thought about the caramel squares. Yes, that's my sister. You will get some caramel squares. But they're super convenient. I love the cookie butter salted caramel because you can use it in so many different ways. And when I realized that I could add it to this, because I've added like caramel, like a thinner caramel, like a drizzle almost. It was kind of like one of my caramels that's kind of like in between thick and thin. It was kind of a combination, but it was too thin and it ran out of the hand pie. So the little squares actually, because they're so solid, they melt slower and they have a less like likely chance that they'll actually leak out of the hand pie. As always, please let me know if you have questions. I will check the chat ever so often. If I see the comment pop up, I will definitely respond. A couple more for you too. Okay, so those are our bigger hand pies. And then let's do 2 smaller ones with our little Brunoise apple pie filling. So with this one, because we're folding it in half, we definitely can't add too much because it will be hard to close. But again, I like to kind of push the bounds on it. Just like that. Oops. That's probably too much. Okay. And the oven is ready. I've been preheating that to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about, I think, 204 degrees Celsius, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so let's add our caramel squares. So literally for these ones, I just take it and pop a little square right on top. Okay, and then for these ones, I think I want to try to kind of shape it a little bit. I still want a lot of caramel in there. So you could either cut this in half or like cut it in half with a knife or something, but I'm gonna try kind of flattening it and putting it in a little bar across the top. So there's gonna be more evenly dispersed caramel. That's gonna be something that I will try. Actually, let's try it with this guy. So I'm gonna try to flatten it a little bit so it's like a disc across. I've been kind of curious to see how this would, if it's gonna be a more even distribution of the caramel over everything. Okay. That looks good. And shaping this one for our other half little hand pie over here. And then sticking that on. Okay. So we are good. Now we're gonna get our egg wash. Let me grab the milk. So for my egg wash lately, I've been really liking using 1 whole egg. And to that, we're gonna add a little splash of whole milk. Don't need too much. And then we're gonna mix that together. Okay, until it's completely together. I stick the whole milk back in the fridge really quick. Okay. So I have a pastry brush here, just a basic, it's Wilton brand. I think I found this at Joann's. That's where I find a lot of my products. So we're gonna add, some egg wash right along the perimeter. Just like that. We're gonna do that for all of them. This is gonna help our hand pies seal a little bit better. It's gonna act kind of as a glue. Okay, and then for our half hand pies, we're only gonna do, let me scoot you over a little bit. For our half hand pies, we're only gonna do the half right by our filling because we're gonna be folding this over. Just like that. Do the other one. Okay, that looks good. So we're gonna set our egg wash aside. And then we're going to add our pie dough. And if there's any excess flour, just kind of brush it off. We're gonna lay it right over the top. And for the top ones, if you do really wanna add a whole bunch of filling, you can do like a bigger circle on top of it. I just cut the same ones for today. But that'll help kind of like account for the doming that's gonna happen with the filling. And then for these ones, we're just taking it and folding it in half. And there's a bit too much filling. Let's take you out. I'll just use this for another hand pie. Yeah, I kind of figured that might be a little bit too much. Okay, let's try this again. So we are folding, and then we're gonna just lightly pressing down. We're gonna come back and use a fork along the edge. This might need to have a little bit of filling taken out as well, but we shall see. Yeah, a little bit of apple pie filling removal here. Okay, let's try this again. Just like that. We're trying to make sure we're gonna get the filling in the center and then get a nice little lip of pie crust around it that doesn't have any filling inside. And then I'm gonna do the same thing right here. Just kind of lightly press along the perimeter, just trying to get these pie doughs to stick and seal in that filling. Check and see if we have any questions here. Okay, we are good. Yes, rechilling the dough is definitely important, especially because again, if you work with the dough too much, then that gluten develops, and you want to use gluten, or you want gluten to develop when you're making bread or pizza crust usually, or something like that, or pasta, but not when you're using like pie dough. You want it to be nice and kind of relaxed in a way, and chilling it helps it do that. And our last one here. Just like that. And I'll move it so you can see all of them. Again, wipe off excess flour. Okay, so now you can see everything. Then we're gonna take a fork we're going to use the prongs here to help seal our pie dough. So I'll show you on the half one first. So we're going to press, press, just press all the way around. Just like that. So it just helps, like the egg wash kind of acts as like a little bit of a glue, and this just kind of helps to ensure that it's nice and secure. You can even go around a couple times if you need to, but just like that. And we'll set that one aside for now, and we're not quite done with it. We're going to go back to it in just a sec. Oops. Yeah, see, if you add a little bit too much moisture, it does get a little bit hard to seal, but just try your best. So don't add too much egg wash. So yeah, just enough to seal it. Over here I added a little bit too much, so that's why I was getting kind of sticky. Over here was still good. So it was a little bit easier to seal over here. Just like that. We got our full one. Oops. A little bit tacky right there. I think maybe add a little bit of flour to the back of that just to see. That should help things a little bit to get it to not stick. And we're good on that one. Got 2 more to go. One more flour. Okay, just like that. We got one more. Almost there. Okay, so just like that, and then I'm gonna grab a little paring knife. Okay. Got a little paring knife here, and then we're just gonna poke a couple little holes just so that the steam from the inside that'll be produced can kind of be released. And so it should result in less of like popping in random spots. It's kind of a more controlled way to go about it. So poke just a couple little holes, just like that. I'm gonna set these on my tray, which I'll show you in a sec. And then let's do these ones as well. Again, just poke a couple little holes. You don't have to necessarily, maybe with these ones, but I still like to do it again just to kind of prevent random little spots if you can. Sometimes you still can't help it, but it's a way to kind of help alleviate that issue. Okay, we're almost done. So we got our hand pies here on a piece of parchment paper on our tray, and then we're gonna brush this with more egg wash. So let me see. Let me fold this extra pie stuff right here. I'm gonna fold this to get out of my way so you can see a little bit better while I do the egg wash. And again, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'd love to answer them on what I'm doing. Okay, scooch this way a little bit. And there we go. So here's our hand pies. And again, we're taking the same pastry brush from before, and oops, got a little bit of pie filling on the pastry brush. And we're gonna brush our hand pies with our egg wash. And this will help have it like, give it like a nice, really pretty brown color when it's all done and ready to go, like that nice golden brown. Okay, let me check the chat while I'm doing this because I can multitask. Okay, we're still good on the chat. What's your favorite kind of hand pie? Or pie in general? Drop it in the chat or in the comments. I think mine depends on my mood, kind of what I'm in the mood for. I do like pumpkin pie, but I think if I had to pick one kind of pie, it would be like a caramel apple kind of related pie. Okay. You can see this, like, they definitely didn't stay perfect circles, but hand pies are typically kind of more rustic. If I was going like super slow, I probably could have kept them the same shape, but. Okay, and we're almost done. Okay. We are looking good. I'm gonna go back with my knife again. Some of these holes got a little bit covered up just to make sure they're still there. Okay. And that's it for the live today. This is all of our hand pies that we're doing. I will definitely post pictures of how they turned out, probably on stories and or the community tab. And then, yeah, now we bake these for about, I think they take on average like 25 minutes. I start checking them around the 20-minute mark. And then sometimes they take up to 30 minutes. But yeah, I'm gonna pop these in the oven. Again, it's at 400 degrees Fahrenheit or about 204 degrees Celsius. And yeah, about 25-ish minutes. But again, start checking around 20 minutes. Okay, so that's it for today. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat now. Of course, you can drop comments later. Oh, lemon meringue during summer, caramel apple during fall, and chocolate during winter. Yeah, having seasonal favorites is, of course, I love lemon during summer as well. Let's see. Yeah, that's it for what we're doing today. Like I said, the apple fillings that we used, as well as our caramel squares here. And then also the pie dough, everything are, all those recipe videos are on my YouTube channel, but I will link them in the description after this goes up. And yeah, so if you make these at home, let me know. I'd love to know how they turned out. And yeah, that's it for today. Like I said, I will be posting pictures to let you guys know how they turned out after they come out of the oven. And I hope you guys have a great weekend. Next week, we're going to be doing caramel apple scone or caramel apple pie scones. So we're going to be doing those because that was a very close judging or voting that that we had. So I figured that we'll do those next week because people seem really excited about those. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Thank you guys so much for joining, and I will see you soon.